and a very strong energy came in, and it helped me in this deep state. So I couldn't get up. So it was really like I had just had to surrender to this energy, and it was restructuring my system. I could really feel that.
Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And welcome everybody to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. I am so grateful to have you here. We're ready to rock with another Spiritual Rockstar today. We've had her before. She's amazing. So I'm so grateful to have you here today, Eva.
Hi, Daniel. I'm so happy to be back, and I love your energy. This is why I'm so happy and look forward to this conversation today. So thank you. Yeah.
Yes, it's just, this is actually, I think, maybe the first show I'm not doing bio introductions, but let me tell you that Eva is very high frequency embodiment. I want to say there's a lot of high frequency in her energy. As an energy scanner, I can testify, I can certify it, right?
Oh, that's nice. Great. That's good.
Other things I could find in people's systems other than all the high frequency. But there's a lot of high frequency, really. And she's really coming into her energy and her body. And, she's a teacher of it, a spiritual teacher. So, Eva, you've got an amazing, lovely community, too, of students that, honestly, we had a pretty big response, I think, to the last show. Like, we had a lot of people I saw on YouTube came in and checked out the episode, because I feel like your energy just draws people in. And but my guess is you, although you've always been someone people probably find to be pleasant, you didn't always have this kind of resonant energy with a high vibration like this. And so, like, this whole, like, I want to call it almost like the stardom, right? Like, you have a number of people that follow you, but that wasn't always the case. And so, you were just trying to find your way in life like everybody else, and figuring things out. And so I'd love to hear, even though we've talked about it in the past, what's the backstory? I know you have new things to share this episode that we want to get into for sure, but what's the backstory? What is it that led you? Was it like you're just so curious about life that led you into it? Because I don't remember your story completely. Or is it just like everything got so stressful that you broke down and finally you just kind of surrendered into the present sort of thing? Or, like, I'm curious. Yeah.
Yeah. I give you a short summary. So basically, my life was unfolding in a very normal way, and I could have experienced it also being in a very positive and high vibrational, but I wasn't there. So in that way. So I wasn't high vibrational at that time, so I couldn't experience it in that way. I was looking for fulfillment and for my life purpose, and there was just something missing, and I didn't know what it was, and I was just looking everywhere, in job, university, friends, traveling, and stuff like that. So I was looking in the world, right? And then one day I realized I was at work, and like there were these energy patterns playing out. We all have them, that things are repeating. Again, I was doing my job, I was doing my best, but I was just not happy at all. And I knew things had to change, like today. And then I quit my job, and I took some time off, and just lived from my savings. And yeah, I was basically exploring. Yeah. And I started listening to podcasts like yours. But at that time, it was personal development and also like spirituality, like those podcasts, they mixed that a little bit. And that was very helpful, because there were people sharing, and they said, hey, I went through this journey as we do here right now, and everything became better, and I found my life purpose and stuff like that. And I thought, okay, it seems like there are people out there and they've experienced that. And I felt inside that's possible to find for myself as well. I just didn't know where, because there were so many thoughts. It was like overthinking everything. Then there were just still like so many low vibrational emotions in my system. So there was just a lot of fear and anger, and like all of these different energies. We have resistance, a lot of resistance to life, how life unfolded. And also a lot of energy patterns playing out, things I learned from friends, family, society, throughout my life, like through everybody's life, we are collecting a lot of these energy patterns, and then we live those, and we kind of don't really know what we are, like who we are beyond them, basically. Yeah, and this was the place where I basically started being more interested in personal development. And then I also started meditating, yeah, at that time. And from basically the beginning on, I started meditating. I was receiving spiritual energies. So this was basically my path, awakening of consciousness, and always with spiritual energies. So the first few weeks or months I was sitting in those transmissions, I couldn't feel anything, I couldn't feel the energies, but after that, it started opening up. I could feel different energies. I saw lights with my eyes closed, had visions and stuff like that. So everything became more alive, even though my eyes were closed. And usually we just see black, when the eyes are closed. Yeah, and this is when it opened up, and then a few years of very dedicated meditation, so that deepening of consciousness or raising the level of consciousness. Also doing a lot of healing and clearing work, releasing these low vibrational energies and energy patterns and karma and stuff like that. We carry quite a bit around with ourselves. Yeah, and then basically I came to a point where I had the impulse to work with people one-on-one. At that time I was transmitting my state of consciousness, so there was the Brahman at that time. So basically, when you sit with somebody and the state is higher, you can just experience it as an energy transmission. And then I had an experience at a retreat. So I'm just gonna continue, okay? I'm just yeah, because
Oh,
you
yes,
you let me
absolutely.
know you let me know when to stop. But I was like at the spiritual retreat, and I was pulled in such a deep meditation, so that there was just a dim awareness, but I was basically gone, nearly gone. And a very strong energy came in, and it held me in this deep state. So I couldn't get up. So it was really like I just had to surrender to this energy, and it was restructuring my system. I could really feel that. And it, like everybody else, already got up from the meditation and went to dinner, and I had to stay for a little bit longer. Then I went to dinner, and then I had this impulse, okay, I have to come back again and really meditate, continue meditating. And this is where the energies did something, changed something in my system, that I started to be able to bring in higher vibrational lights. This started then. Um, yeah, and I also had no idea what I was really doing. I was transmitting it to people, and over time, basically, I started to read the information in the energies, what they wanted for people. I could, see the energy field. Also, like you read information from the energy field, and basically started to work with these energies. And everything was learning by doing. So I wasn't taught anything. The energies, I guess, they taught me. So yeah, this is how I started to work with these high vibrational energies.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, yeah, I knew meditation must be the key. Often, often is. I mean, some people spontaneously just like, whoa, everything just opens up like out of nowhere almost, it seems to them, right? Like, oh, it just happened. I always say, like, yeah, they were intending, like, some part of their consciousness, like, I want to be free. All of a sudden, it just happens, right? All of a sudden, like, poof, just pops open. And for other people, it's like a big process. The Kundalini turned on, and all of a sudden, you got all this integration. I had definitely some of that came through me with the Kundalini energies and stuff, and
Mm.
Samadhi state or whatever, like all that kind of stuff, and then and then sometimes people pop out of it. Like for me, versus like being in that deepened state of samadhi, like I didn't stay at that level. Like so it's like I didn't maintain that. And then so I think everybody's journey is so different, right? I mean, and so I think one of the wise things to do is, again, it sounds simple, but not to judge what way your journey is. Like it's easy to hear what Eva's saying, even though she said all the heartache you went through earlier on, like obviously, like it was so obvious. But then, like, oh, but then it just all this came in all at once, and then everybody's like, well, I'd like to have some of that too. And I'm sure you see that for your students, but you also see other things, right? Where there's a process involved and doesn't necessarily all capture, capture the whole thing. You're evolving still, right? So I just want to give
Yeah.
people like a context, for all this stuff more, as you're sharing your context as a spiritual teacher, but like just the things I even have observed, leading retreats and stuff myself too. Like everybody's process just looks different, and embrace like whoever you are in your process, and you working, dropping your patterns or whatever energies and all that stuff. So that's the first thing that comes up for me to share with everybody is yes, this is possible. And I imagine even you help facilitate it so that um, they are more likely to open up more, or maybe it does happen more dramatically sometimes. I've heard sometimes people open up too strong too fast and they crash, right? Like it's too much for them to handle. They could end up like in a hospital and all this stuff. I don't know, I got a million questions. I'm packing in all these comments, but I'd
Yeah.
love for you to respond to all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I just respond to the first question
Yes.
that comes to mind. So the energies I'm working with, they help with the awakening, but in a gradual way. It's an unfolding process. And how I see this is has to be like that, because the so the energies are coming in, they're transforming the system on a cellular level. So we have to change on the like in the on the energetic level and also the physical level, and this just takes time, especially the physical, until until the silence is more present and the clarity is more present, and the energy patterns are falling away. This just takes time. Like it can't happen from one day to the other. It's possible to have an opening like you described, right, into unity consciousness or something. There are these openings there, but then it also depends, is the nervous system able to hold this massive amount of information, because it's a massive amount of information. This is why I work with a lot of people who say they have these openings, but then, so this was 20 years ago and then it closed down and now they're looking for it. They kind of want to get back there, or it was 5 years
Right.
ago or
Right.
something like that. Yeah. So they had these glimpses, but I think it's definitely there so that people, are motivated. They see, okay, this is possible. I can experience that. I experienced myself in a totally different way. And now I'm, moving through this process. And
Mm.
as you said, everybody is so individual. So as I see it, we all have a, so of course we're all human on one level in this life experience, but we come in when we incarnate. Everybody has different, the soul wants, different learnings, different experiences it wants to have. So we have like a blueprint. Then also there is karma from past lives that's involved. Um, so that's also in the blueprint, and then the stuff we accumulate in this lifetime. So basically, this is our template, and everybody's template is very different because of that. And what we do is we all live in like a little consciousness bubble. So everything that we experience on the outside is what the inside reflects onto the outside. So the consciousness is reflected on the outside. And this is why every life experience is individual and how it's unfold is very individual. So nobody is the same at all. So yes, everybody's awakening is very different. I mean, of course, when we connect to, let's say, specific energies, there are certain similarities because it's the quality and the energies, but in general, people following, this is why people follow different paths of awakening in different traditions and stuff, because they feel drawn to different ones, but it all leads to the same goal. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, so might want what are those monks or whatever of their which tradition I forget, but uh, they say sit still. If you move, they smack you with a stick or whatever.
Oh,
There's all kinds of traditions like a lotus position, 8 hours a day, that'll get you there, and like everybody's got their own thing, and some other teachings are much more gradual and gentle, like just a little this, a little that, just notice, just be still for one present moment. I mean, seriously, like that's big. Like people don't realize what one present conscious moment can do for them. Like they don't know. Till because most people aren't, they think they're opening, they think they're conscious, they think they're present. But with your eyes open, one very conscious moment can shift things big in that moment, right? Like, and it can cascade, right? So there's so many different practices. It's like, oh, it's
yeah.
like people probably are like, where should I begin, right? For me, a lot of times I tell people to begin with meditation personally, but how do people begin? Like, what are some of the suggestions you give?
I mean, what I recommend. when people are interested in my work, it is part of it is meditation. So I have a YouTube channel, for example. There are YouTube videos. I have a free meditation which is on every Thursday, and I have small group sessions where I do like more intense healing and clearing work. And I just always recommend people to connect to the energies as much as possible. And yeah, this is what people do. And then it's an unfolding process. And this is the beauty of it as well, because so we see that things are getting better, they're getting easier. When the baggage leaves our system, we become lighter, more high vibrational, and then life also manifests in that way. It kind of like when blockages are gone, life just unfolds in a nicer way, in a flow all the time. And when there is an obstacle, then it's not like, oh my God, there is this big obstacle, but we look for opportunities and possibilities to overcome it, in with being in this flow, being carried by life itself, by life energy. So I basically recommend people, doing a meditation every day, connecting to these energies, because the energies are transforming the system. And it's so convenient, living a normal human life experience in the West, like having a job, having a family, friends, like to go out for dinners and, movies or whatever people like to do. So it doesn't mean that people have to stay at home and meditate all day, or, let all human experience move out of the way just for spiritual practice. No, not at all. It's inclusive, because we sit down for practice and then we want to integrate it into life experience. So it's very important that we're experiencing life, because then also things can come up. Also, we see what left, what fell away, what's easier, so we get the direct feedback. And if we just would say, I mean, I don't know about the monks, but I can just imagine, if you sit in a monastery and you have the same routine every day, like you don't really get this feedback from life, like you don't, I don't know. But this is basically what I'm seeing. And this is why these transmissions are so helpful. They just help regular people with normal lives, and it makes it very simple because we can connect over Zoom, right? So, yeah.
Well, yeah, the ones in the monastery, sometimes though they come back out, they don't do quite as well. I mean, truly. I mean, look again, you'll find the examples, but like they're out there, but like they don't do quite as well. Maybe they have that foundation, so that's good. But now you got to go deal with life out there, so to speak.
Yeah, you have to integrate it into life. This is this is just how it is if you go back, right? Yeah.
Right, because there's
Yeah.
people that say I used to live in a monastery or whatever, and there's days I wonder if I should just go back.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, because the life brings up all the triggers, the fears, like the unmet stuff, right? So the thing is, the higher the level of consciousness, and this is the thing, the less you can hide from these patterns and low vibrational energies. This is definitely what I'm experiencing, and also what people are experiencing. Like you have to meet it. But the good part is with these energies I'm working with. So first of all, when I do a session, for example, people are held in this high vibrational space of this divine light. So they're in such a high vibration that whatever I'm bringing out and up for them, like they don't need to meet, like they can't experience it because they're basically in a different place. And then also when stuff is coming up during the day, the energies help to move it out of the system a lot quicker. If people like don't get fully involved with these energies, if we like identify with these energies, if we identify with a certain emotion, and then there is the stories and there is more emotions, and we hold it in our system, then it's harder to get it out, or it takes some time until we're conscious that this is actually happening. But if we're conscious enough, and this is part of this process, okay, this is an energy, it's an emotion coming up, and I allow it to move it through without getting involved, and it can happen in a few seconds. It's very simple, very easy, so it moves out very quickly. And so the human system creates a lot of thoughts and emotions, right? And the more healing and clearing we're doing, we have access to what's behind there. So this is just how I see it, behind there, and this is the true nature. This is where the silence is, so that the silence, the expansion, the clarity, the stillness, and this is there all the time. So in every meditation and group healing sessions, I bring people there. So they always meet themselves. But at first it's like, because the human experience is the main one, and there is a lot of identification there. So it's kind of they meet the silence and then they go back into the human, just with a little bit of silence taking back, right? And then back and forth until this experience of the silence gets the main one. And then within this experience, so being the true nature, and within this experience, the human experience is happening. So there is like this change of experience of who we are, right? And how we experience the human. Um, and this is why it has to be a process in a way, or it's good when it's a process, because then, like you also said, it's just easier to handle for the system, and it makes more sense versus, you're just there and you're like totally different. It's like you move from the Sahara to the Antarctica within a day, and now you're
Right.
supposed to live there. It's like, oh my God, what do I do? It's just so
Right.
different.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, so you're right. I mean, you become aware of new things. I mean, again, that Samadhi experience I had, that it wasn't like a moment. It wasn't super momentary. It lasted for weeks. I mean, it was really deep. It was like a heart thing, like too. Like my it was just felt like my heart's turned on. I'm connected to my heart fully, kind of, or almost, or whatever. Like whatever. It's so high that I just felt like, again, like I could just be like, whatever's happening, okay, this person just got stabbed to death. Ah, but I still feel joy. I'm like, I feel so much compassion for them, but I still feel joy. Like it could be anything could happen. Like you just still feel the joy. And it's a different, because the patterns would say that's horrible. You should be really sad, or that's all conditioning, right? You should, right? Like maybe say you should be
Yeah.
like this, you should be like that. And we've been given so many of these programs that we take them on, and it's like, I was just thinking about this today. It's like, honestly, it's like we keep biting in. It's like, yeah, it sort of is like the metaphorical, apple in the garden or whatever. Like it's just, oh, let's just keep eating that apple. That's fun. That's different, right? It's like, well, if you just quit eating apple, maybe you're gonna find like your true nature, right? It's like, whoa, okay, wow. I'm not biting into the separation. All of a sudden, now you get that foundation, like you said, of the silence going, and then but then it's interesting because there's so many people that are, with my scanning and everything I do, I see people that are needing, like, part of their path is to embody certain frequencies and energies at the same time, beyond just like, oh, you're just meant to be universal consciousness, right? We're all vanilla, right? But like, no, there's like people that may, as part of their path at least, like, you really need to, embrace your Palladian energy or whatever, like different things. Whatever it may be, but different frequencies. Like, you could be a real, like, powerful person, like a really, really strong person or what. And so those frequencies are there too. And I think, like, people think you'll just be like this gentle wind energy once you awaken, and that's how you're supposed to be, right? And it's not necessary. I don't think it's true. I think there's teachers that are really awakened, so to speak, but are still very strong personalities, right? And then there's people that are more gentle, right? And so I think that there's so much variation, but that you're unpacking things, right? And you discover more of your true nature on every level, is what I feel like I'm hearing from you. So I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, we all have a personality,
Yeah.
and everybody is just, got a personality, and this is what we have, I guess. So some are very nice people, and some are just not, they're like more like, yeah, louder, or I don't know, like you just different personalities, let's say it like that. Um, but it's definitely realizing the true nature. So the absolute is, okay, this is beyond everything. So this is the beyond creation, but
Mhm.
there is also creation, and
Mhm.
we are also a part of creation, and we are also human. So we have a lot of different aspects or levels. So the
Mhm.
human experience is here, right? We all know how it is. And then in the level of the creation is, so people call it the soul, or the higher self, or I just call it the light aspect. And you know why? Because it's basically light with information on the core level. This is just why I really like to call it like that. And it contains, so all the information is in there from past experiences, we had in different lifetimes. And this part of ourselves has a lot of abilities as well, and the veil between like this part and the human is thinning. So this is why we can access these areas. And I definitely can, for example, have telepathic communication with being from different galaxies, different, planets, gods, all sorts of different beings, and just ask them things. And we have like conversations and ask them about Earth and how they see Earth, or how they see like the awakening process and stuff like that. It's something I can have. Like there are just so many possibilities. I can work with all sorts of different frequencies, like you said before, like Pleiadian. I haven't done that yet because I didn't feel drawn to it yet. But there are just different frequencies that you can just bring in. It basically, when this all opens up, you can access everything, and then it's an exploration of what can I access, like what's there. And this is very exciting. I mean, always depending on if people are interested and if this is opening up for them, because I know people, when they realize the absolute, this is where they kind of stay, like they have no interest in entering creation and looking for stuff there, let's say it like that, or do healing work. But I also know a lot of people who do. They just explore their consciousness. And it's so cool because you cannot get identified. This is the good part. So you can visit everything, you can look at it, you can have conversations, but you can't get caught there. So I had this experience one time, and I want to share it. And this was very interesting. So my consciousness moved from the human body through like these 12 dimensions, out and then out of creation. And this was just a very cool experience because I could feel like all these different, or experience all these different, let's say it, qualities of the dimensions. And when you are in creation and then you step outside of creation, you see how sticky creation is. And it's very easy to get caught there because there are so many different energies and beings that grab your attention and pull you into their, city, or into their planet. And they're like, hey, let's have a look here and look what I'm doing. So when you're not, so it's just easier when you are outside of creation and then you come into creation, because it's a whole different way of looking at things, and you can't get caught, like you can never identify.
Let's unpack that a little bit more, because I'm even starting to lose you a little bit on how
Oh,
you're explaining it. So yeah, let's say I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna open up my conscious, because I understand, like I've had all kinds of experiences, but like I'm not really drawn to that. I'm not drawn to, man, I could energy scan everybody on every every star system, or or whatever. Go hang out, go visit their cities or whatever. I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, I can open myself to whatever, right? I mean, we have those abilities, but I'm just not at this point. I was been more drawn to that earlier on when I started opening up more, right? I've been sure, maybe, let's try. But like after I did a certain amount of it, for me, um it's, like there was a period of where I just, because of my teacher, was more like, oh, you could do that. That's, I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong, but he kind of I felt like he was saying it was wrong. He's like, yeah, that's just playing around, and, like, it's just messing around and stuff. You don't need to do that. And, he didn't really say it that way, but it's kind of the way it came to me. Like, but he said, yeah, no, that's fine. People do that. They're really good at it. Not everybody's really good at it. He also said, like, which makes sense, right? We're all different. But like, I find that fascinating. Like they could, I mean, because I think that's one of the fears people have once they open. I could get caught up in energies, and I'll get lost, and I won't be able to come back, and they'll take me over, and I'll lose control. Like that's one of the main things with awakening. I lose control. So, and there's something to that, especially if you're opening up to energies, right? So that definitely is. It could be a concern, right? So tell us more about, unpack that more, like, like what you're saying about all that.
yeah. So I absolutely agree with you. I also wasn't interested in these realms when I was on the levels of consciousness, moving through them. And I also read a book at that time, and basically they said, don't teach, and also don't, get caught in creation, because this is just, where you spend time, but it doesn't really help you on the awakening path. Like it holds you back in a way. So this is why I also didn't look. There was no interest. Um, But now it's like, okay, the possibility is there, and every now and then it basically happens. So it's also not, I just want to share, I don't like, go there forcefully or anything like that. It's just, when there is an energy present and I'm like, okay, where are you from? Oh, I'm an ant person coming from this and this planet. And then I see just internally where they're from and how it looks there. And this offered me an energy I can work with, which is actually a very cool one. So it's like, okay, it just happens in my regular everyday life experience. Sometimes I sit down and ask, for certain things that's different, but it basically just, it comes in and becomes very normal. And the good part is like, I'm absolutely untouchable and I can't get caught anywhere. And this is the difference, definitely what I'm experiencing, because I had an opening when I shifted into unity consciousness, and I could also sense beings in other dimensions. And I had so much fear in my system that beings with fear came in, and they were basically playing with me, if we want to say it like that. Or I felt them at night and on my body, and this awful energy of fear, just the resonance, and there was just more fear and so forth. I didn't know what's happening, right? And now it's like, because this is cleared out of the system, and because what I am is untouchable, and I'm basically all of that anyways, I can go anywhere and do anything. And I also had experiences where I brought in, for example, it just also happened in a meditation randomly. I just went into this meditation, and I had to bring in a lot of trapped souls. So they were just trapped in a veil or whatever, and they had to come back to earth. And there were energies trying to hold me back from doing it. And it just didn't work. And experiences like that where like they really try to hold me back, but like I'm absolutely untouchable. And this is just, I guess, the upside of now going into these places, because before I also wouldn't have, because there was definitely fear, and there was definitely I didn't want to mess with areas where I have no idea what's going on there. So but now it's different, because I know on an energetical level, my intention is law, basically. Like what I say, what I do with my intention, this
Right.
is how I create.
Right.
Because we all creators, but creation, like that we are creators, is often misunderstood, or people think about it in the way of, I manifest items, I manifest the life that I want. But really what I mean is that we are creating our reality. So everybody's doing that, consciously or not consciously, because otherwise we wouldn't experience one. And this is basically the God aspect within us that's doing that. So we are creators. And when this aspect basically comes forward, so it's part of the true nature, then we realize, okay, it's my creation, and I can do things in that creation, like I can change certain things and so forth. But it has nothing to do with manifesting items or stuff like that. It's a bit different. Yeah, and then when you realize that, and then that you're untouchable and you can't be manipulated or anything like that, you just go there and look if there is a necessary, if it's necessary, because it's not, or some people just enjoy exploring. So again, everybody's different. And for me, it's more because I don't have a lot of time, so it really has to come in during my everyday life, or when I'm hiking, I'm like, okay, I connect to the collective consciousness of the forest. And then I asked a whole lot of questions, and they were introducing beings to me who live in the forest. And I asked them about, pollution, what their take on that is, for example, and, how we treat earth and environment. I just got this information that I was curious about. And this just happens very naturally, it's like, it's so normal. It's like communicating with you. So everything becomes very normal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that, yeah, when we do that, let's say, for example, talking to the people out in the trees or whatever, the energies or the beings, etc. But whatever, but talking to the trees themselves, etc. But as we do that, um, because this has been something that's always been a question in my consciousness. I feel, again, this is the basis of some of the teachings I've received, from people is, well, trying to mess around with any of this stuff is a mistake, is basically the premise, right? You leave everything as it is. Because it's like, we shall do that. Whatever you manifest through intention, even energetically something, and you're like, see, look what's new. And then the teaching is like, yeah, well, let's see how long that lasts. Like, because of the impermanence of everything, right? So for every time something sparks open is amazing, and a whole new level drops in somewhere else, entropy is happening, chaos, everything's disintegrating. And then, some teachers would say, yeah, but that's the evolution of consciousness. Other people would say, that just is. That just is. There is no evolution of consciousness. There might be some people that believe that, right? There is no evolution of consciousness. Everything's just happening. It's already happened. It's all a bunch of nonsense. It's all meaningless. There are people that are in the meaningless kind of stage, right? I think you kind of alluded to that earlier. None of it matters. So really doesn't matter. We're just infinite. We're one. We're connected. Why would we play around with any of this stuff? But some of us are drawn to, right? So like sometimes because I can see both sides, but I say, well, I'm here, I'm in a human body, I'm here doing stuff. I could just say everything's meaningless and just be with the one. That doesn't seem, I don't know, that doesn't seem like it calls to me as much as like, actually mixing it up and feeling like I'm contributing from love, right? Like the love vibration to, yeah, I mean, if I was called to do this type of things you're saying, like to do it that way, or, helping the beings here, that are human, in human form, like helping them, right? Like feeling that difference that we feel it, they feel, right? Like we're moving together in this vibration of love and upliftment. And that matters. Like that matters in all kinds of ways rather than, going to a meaningless place. Because, there are people that just don't think like we should be doing any of it. And there's other people who want to control everything, manifest everything, right? It's all over the place. It's very interesting.
Yeah, but this is absolutely fine, and this is so what I've experienced. I can only share from my experience, and also what I see with people is there is like this movement. Sometimes we move more out of life, and then we very withdrawn from life, and also like even from the human experience, like it's gone basically. There's that the human experience doesn't matter at all. There's just consciousness. Then there is this movement back in. Then there's the life matters more, matters more, and then so forth. So there is this movement back and forth. I've experienced this so many times. And like in Brahman, for example, becoming the absolute, like life, like you don't care about life at all, like at all. It's the last thing you care about, because you don't care about anything, because there's nothing there. Nothing and everything. But it's very different. But then there is again this movement back into the human. There is more openness coming in again, just very different. And I'm sure there is. So what I'm seeing on the level of consciousness, this doesn't change, for example, right? So this stayed the same since becoming the absolute. But now there is like, okay, I can always work with different energies. I can explore more. I can, try to help people to open up more and find their life purpose, or find their, you know, um, the personalized truth. This is the word I prefer. So, and basically everybody, like we were saying a few times in this conversation already, everybody's so different and will feel drawn to different things. And I'm working with people, and some say, hey, I want that this is my last life, like I will never come back. Then merging with the divine or with the absolute is is the way to go. And then there are people, no, I love earth, I love life, I just want to get rid of my baggage, and live a more joyful life experience. And so everybody's so different. Yeah, and everybody's also teaching from where they are, right? And it always depends. Okay, are people or teachers? I'm talking about teachers. Do you stay where you are because you like it there and that's absolutely fine, or do you evolve? Do you change over time? Like, do you still look into changing into becoming more expanded, more high vibrational? Because what I'm seeing from my perspective, there is no end of becoming higher vibrational. It can always be higher vibrational, and then life experience changes, and also how you see earth and what's happening here, like this absolutely changes. You can't really access these low vibrational experiences anymore, or you don't even see them happening. Like it's basically they're outside of your reach, because in a high vibration certain things are just not there anymore. And what I'm seeing in general, because in my free meditation, for example, every Thursday we also work on bringing in energies for the collective. So these energies are supporting the raising of the vibration and the consciousness of the collective, you know. And yeah, and some people will they will feel these energies even on a subconscious level. The soul will know they take in these energies and changes are happening for them, and some don't. This is just how it is, you know. We're just all different.
Right. Right. I mean, I think that's what I love about it. It's like there's infinite variety, kind of, you know. That's
Yeah.
pretty limitless. Like, because that again, why not, right? We're as infinite beings. There's infinite varieties of experiences. But it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, there is, of course, the spiritual snobbery that can come in when you're at certain levels of development, right? Oh, I've gotten to this level and others haven't, or things like that can come across people, and but really, I mean, it's like the person who looks like a dark side player to me is they're equally just playing their role. They're just doing their thing right now, and they're all going to make their way back to unity consciousness, in my opinion. They're all going to be. It's all one direction, in my opinion, ultimately. But it's all is one thing, right? But I mean, I feel like, yeah, everybody sort of picked a role, I mean, picked roles and it has assignments, like you said earlier. You're talking about the soul lessons, right? So, what are some of the common themes for people that work with you? What they're looking for right now? Like, yeah, given that you are unique and you're certain people are drawn to you, and some people are like, yeah, she's cool, but no, like,
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So some people feel drawn to the energies and also to what I share and to my personality, and some don't. Yeah, right. Because and this is so great. There are so many people these days offering different work. You know, so people can choose from so many different ones doing something similar in the end, right? Um, yeah, I mean, I work with all sorts of different people, but it's more people who are actually dedicated spiritual seekers who kind of want to reach a high level of consciousness and heal their human system. So this is the aim, definitely. And a lot of them are very dedicated. You know, they do meditations regularly. And they see the changes happening. You know, they see the changes in their life experience. They become more aware. You know, first few steps are becoming aware that not the thoughts, the emotions, the energy patterns, and the body and stuff like that. You know, seeing all the differences. What's actually right now? What I'm experiencing right now? What's that? You know, seeing this. From this observer perspective in form of self-realization, and then also becoming one with everything eventually, right? And I prefer to say like the because people are always, how do I measure this? You know, how do I measure where I'm at? And I basically always say on the on the silence in the system. Like if the silence and the peace and the clarity and there are other aspects or qualities, for example, the unconditional love or the joy of existence. You know, there's a subtle bliss just because you exist. It's just always there. This joy. When this becomes more and more, this is basically where you know that you are, you know, on a very good way on this path. When this expands more, and also when there are less triggers, when you're less caught or eventually not caught in thoughts and energy patterns, or there are hardly any playing out because you've done so much work. This is basically how you see it. So there is more silence. The system becomes also more quiet. So it's not just you become the true nature, but at the same time, the system becomes healed and so also more quiet. And then life experience changes because life becomes more high vibrational and then manifests in a more optimum way. And I basically call this all your pull towards your personal highest truth, because it's personal, very individual. Everybody has individual highest truth. And this is why I chose this term. Yeah, to describe that. Mm.
Tell us more about that. What is your personal spiritual highest truth, or how does that work? What's that? Tell us more about it.
Yeah, I mean, the personal highest truth is in every moment changes for everybody and is different for everybody. Because where we are, so for example, when I bring in the transmission of the highest truth, so it's the quality of the highest truth, but it meets us where we are, right? So it pulls us towards the highest truth. It would be the best, the most optimum timeline we can experience the system is healing and clearing while we're moving towards that. Also, more expanding, more light is present, then life, of course, becomes just more of a flow unfolding. Opportunities are coming up. We're having more access to. We have access to our highest potential. So this is just abundance. This is just opening up because this is part of our true nature, anyways. This is all part of the true nature. And yeah, by doing this work, people are basically pulled towards that. Yeah, and there is this energy service I'm having. So it's called Next Elevations. And this is actually a service where people don't have to meditate, although I still recommend it because this is where people can connect to this energy 24/7. So this I call it base transmission, and it's just there all the time, and it comes in and work on people's system while they move through the day or sleep. So it's just these high vibrational energies are there and do the work. Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of when my wife Deb, she says, I'm gonna put you in a med bed, like kind of thing. And it's just like she just sets up the parameter and just lets the energy run, right? Like it's just all by intention, right? It's like more or less. So it's like, okay, set up the scene or however. I don't even know how she does her stuff, but when she does it, but like she sets up the med bed. But I think she put, puts a timer. She didn't keep you in there forever. She puts you in there for a specific time with a specific kind of focus, and then it lapses, but because I guess I'm bringing that up because I could see someone thinking like, yeah, I want to do that too. I'm going to focus on everybody. Everybody's going to come in as a client. I'm going to focus on raise their vibration 24/7. And maybe they're going to use effort rather than, more, more just, like setting up the energy parameter. So it's running, all by itself rather than you're efforting it. So I'm just putting that out there because people are getting ideas as we talk, right? Like that's part of the point of the show. But I also want to I don't want to create unnecessary suffering because you put too much energy into, you're going to burn yourself out trying. I'm bringing you all the, I'm healing you all day long, like from a place of effort that's exhausting.
Yeah. So it's not me. So
Right.
I set up the energy that it comes to people by
Right.
itself. So it doesn't need me as a channel.
Right.
But of course, if people sit with the energy and they close their eyes, everything gets still and they can tune into it better, then there is movement and we focus on that, on life. So I definitely also recommend that people sit and meditate if they can, but it's just really cool to have this possibility that the vibration rises because it does so much more. For example, we just talked about it yesterday. Like all this electrosmog, a lot of, is that the word in English as well? Because this would be the German word. So all the Wi-Fi and all these,
Yeah. Right. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
electrosmog in German. So, a lot of people are sensitive to that, right? And it has a vibration. And when you are, for example, constantly connected to these energies, it's like you're in a little cocoon. And so low vibrational stuff or these electrosmog energies, they can't do anything to your system, like they don't influence it. It's like the high vibration and there is a lower vibration and they're not compatible, so it just can't get in there. Also, when you are, let's say, meeting a person who is in a low vibrational mood, like you will feel that, right? Because if there is still resonance in the system, you will feel that. But it doesn't stick. It doesn't stay, because you're in a high vibrational state. So it's there, but then it leaves right away or quite soon. So it has a lot of advantages in everyday life, So I also have it, for example, for pets and for workspace or home. If people say they want to have the energy at home, they don't want to have it while they go out and work, because then the energy would follow people around. But they could have it at home, for example, and also the family could benefit, for example, and also pets. Yeah, so there are a lot of different things we can do with these energies, when they can come in and when we can work with them. So, yeah.
Right. I mean, there's people selling devices for a lot of money, saying that it's going to accomplish the same things, right? But
Yeah.
that's a big price to pay financially for some people. Like, okay, 10 grand, we'll make sure the Wi-Fi doesn't affect you anymore or whatever it is. But so I'm sure it brings other, benefits, I suppose. But I don't know, but like, often, that's what you hear. Like I've heard a lot from people like that. And but where this is like what I love about what you're doing is you get it. You're like, yeah, just based on frequency and attention and all this stuff, like, that's enough. We don't need we don't need to do. You could do the other thing, that's fine, but like you don't necessarily need it. And it makes sense because I always tell people, like, when they say, oh, the reason why I got problems because I've got all these entities or whatever. I'm like, yeah, you got entities because you got all a bunch of stuff inside you that's bringing the so-called entities in, right? So it's like, yeah, well, if you raise your frequency, the entities have no opening. They came in because there was an opening. The same thing with the Wi-Fi. You've got an opening for the Wi-Fi to come in and maybe mess with your vibration a bit, or really pull you down, or even make you sick like that. Yeah, that definitely happens for some people. So, so if people want to take advantage of that, because I know you do so much, like you offer all that, and then you're doing group clearings and stuff, and your next level elevations. So could you tell us more about that and how people can take advantage of it? Because you got that generous trial, that you're offering to for them to experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a 14-day free trial, because I wanted people connect and then they see, okay, do I like it? Is it working for me? And just people have to know if they don't feel the energies, it doesn't matter, they're coming in. It can take some time until the nervous system starts picking up the possibility to actually feel energies. And for some people, it's like, oh my God, it comes in, it's so strong. And then we implemented actually a button on the website where people can turn the energy off and on. It's basically just intention, but we implement the button because some people think they're not sure if they can use their intention. Um, but yeah, there is this 14-day free trial, and at the same time, what I offer is every month there is a meeting where I do a system upgrade, where people's systems are being upgraded so they can receive more of the energy, because there are so many energies and our system is basically this tiny little thingy, and so that more can come in. And there are a lot of recordings of previous ones, for example, on the website, and also healing videos, so recordings from healings I've done, and people can also do them. I always recommend doing them because it's a good head start, to open and expand the system, because the more open and expanded the system is, the more can people receive. So that's all there, and also in this 14-day free trial, so people can see if they like it. And then I have a free meditation, like I said before. Oh, the website, sorry, before is nextelevations.com. And then also I have another website, it's em-healing.com. And it's more focused on the healing. And there are the healing groups. They are on once a week. And also they find information for the free meditation on that website as well.
Interesting. Yeah, fantastic. Everybody should go ahead and definitely take advantage of if you're drawn to it. It's interesting. I'm getting like this coughing feeling coming in my throat, like irritation. I'm just like, I was trying not to cough while you're talking. I'm like, but I always pay attention. I'm like, well, that's interesting. Where's that coming from? What's that about? And yeah, I mean, I feel like there's, I don't know, maybe for me, like to express, I'm expressing like, we're expressing all these things here, and like there's something that I'm like, let's go, guys, let's do it. Like I don't know, like maybe that's even part of it. It's just like a tickling feeling through my throat that I didn't have any other times today. It's just like it's like I bet people get all kinds of interesting new sensations in their body, as they in your frequency things are starting to clear and open up and stuff is also what I'm getting from that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, you're having the coughing. Sometimes people, I mean, it's in sessions. It's not so much in conversations, but they get like burpings and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's just the energy. The energies are leaving the system, and every
Yeah.
system is a bit different, or they have like little movements, kriyas
Right.
and stuff like that. So this can happen as well. It's just the energy moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time, like when I was, well, starting off, like I'd find my head would be shaking, and meditations or sessions with people and stuff. I'm like, I don't know, my head was moving oh yeah, that's just normal. The energies are moving through. I'm like, oh, okay. So like I had no idea at the time, about any of that stuff. And so it's a good thing to know. So, okay, guys, we've got a link in the show notes wherever you're listening. Hopefully, otherwise, you can go ahead and just look it up. You know, honestly, it's easy to find things these days. Look it up on your Chat GPT or whatever, Perplexity or Google, however you do it these days. And or you could still Yahoo, right? The old one. Do it any fun way you want. But next elevations, Eva Müller, and yeah, and then you also have a meditation. Want to tell them about your meditation, your free meditation you have for them?
Yeah, so the free meditation is on every Thursday at 9 o'clock Central European time. This would be, I think, in the afternoon. For where you are, it's 12 p.m. PDT. This is what I definitely know. Yeah, and we're a big group, and it's already a very high vibrational group because people have done a lot of work. You know, a lot of them are on next elevation, so there is a lot of high frequencies happening, and this is why a lot of high frequency lights also can come in, and we also send energies to the collective. I mean, it happens every now and then. Yeah, and everybody's, of course, every individual is receiving. Yeah, and there's like a 10-15 minute talk in the beginning. I just share about something, and then there's a 15-minute guided meditation also with silent sitting. And then there is time for where I answer questions. Yeah, so everybody's very, very much invited. So you find information on my website. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, we'll put a link in the show notes as well for that. And so, yeah, this is fantastic, Eva. And so I really appreciate what you're doing. And, you know, I love that you're doing this service for humanity because I can't do all the jobs. Is what I want to say. Like when I look at like the opportunities to serve humanity, I'm like, I could be a spiritual teacher. I could do this. I could do that. I could do all these things. I'm like, I can't do all of them, you know, because I have a lot of these interests. So that's why I focus on doing healing and also helping healers to thrive in their businesses and teaching people things like energy scanning and stuff because like that's just what feels the strongest, you know. Like okay, these are the things that feel the strongest. That's my path for now, you know, and lean into that. And then I find like all the other stuff pops in anyway. Okay, your spiritual guide right now, like with whatever you're doing, and but I love your dedication, you know, strictly to healing and awakening and everything. I think it's so beautiful, and I really appreciate that within me, and then I see it in you, right? So I appreciate that a lot, and. So we're going. That kind of leads us in, I think, pretty well into the energy scan spotlight segment. You ready to receive, Eva?
Yes, I am. Looking forward.
Okay. All right. Let's see what comes through. I'll just take a couple of minutes to do this one. Hmm. You know, something, maybe this is more of a reflection of the show, but it's coming through when I tune in, is I see there's like showing me like you, I don't know, like maybe washing dishes or something like that. You're doing just like no ordinary thing, but again, like every so-called ordinary moment is an extraordinary moment, right? I think most people are like, yeah, because you're talking about that, like, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. Well, this I'm not in my spiritual practice right now, but literally every moment could be your spiritual practice, right? Like literally you can be connecting, like you said, you do in your everyday life. And I feel like the more, again, it's all to degrees, right? Let's say you're already at 80, 90% of sharing that message with people, or maybe it's lower, I don't know. But like if you raise that up and like you keep teaching people, like, guys, you're looking like acting like it's not there in every moment it is. And then continue to teach them, deepening in that teaching. Like I feel like that's a huge piece that really can help with the work you're doing. Like, I don't know. So that's just what's coming through. All right, I'm going to do one more and then we can reflect on that briefly. Huh. Yeah. So I think you're understanding, you know, you're the good witch this time now. So like again, all the dimensions and times and spaces you've jumped through and so I get like you've had, you know, there's a toasty one in there, a toasty lifetime. I just call it toast. In other words, you know, maybe burn at the stake or something like that, you know, something along those lines. But now it feels like, oh no, you made this transition into I do that kind of magic in a way, right? You do that magic, but like you're the good witch. There's still maybe a little bit of residue of like I know you like you literally are confident, but like there's also like and you know you're untouchable. But then there's a residue of a feeling um like I don't know, something about I don't want to have any undue influence on anybody, which is of course, right? But there might be more of a concern based on past lives. So that may create a little bit of separation energy in some of the transmissions at times. I'm not saying it's a huge issue. I'm just saying I've noticed it. So when I see that, I just see the beauty of all these experiences you weave through. Um, but that even that as a reminder to you, that time in that darkness is in all the different darkness, but including in the witch past life, like that all like has helped to bring you to this point, in this point of consciousness that you're in now. And so you can speak to that in other people too. You may distrust this because you got caught up in a past life, you were like killed, but that's not your path now. It's okay to open up again, like so it's a message for you again and again, and also for the people you're teaching, and just to lean into it more, even if you're already doing it. All right. So I want to
Hmm.
give you a chance to respond, Eva, to what came through. Any quick thoughts on all that?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the reading. I really appreciate it. And yes, I mean, basically, what I can share with you and also the listeners is I'm absolutely working. I'm still working on expanding and clearing my system. This is definitely not done. So I'm sure this influence, I'm not aware of it, but I'm sure you saw it, so it's probably there. And this will also go eventually because I can definitely see in this life. My aim is very much to come from the clearest possible place, you know so
Yes.
this is still the aim, and also I'm doing work for that, so yeah.
Yes. Oh, no, there's no
um
doubt that you would be clear about that. It just, again, it's on an energetic level, there may be something there. Maybe something you could explore, and you could let me know. But but yeah, it's just something that came through. I just hear what comes through. Yeah. So absolutely, but absolutely, the people that are coming to you have a connection to that issue. 100%. They have that issue, and it made something for you just to be aware of, so okay. It's
hmm.
funny, like some things don't totally make complete sense to people when I share. You're probably familiar with this. People you work with, people may not fully
Yep.
aware of what I'm saying just yet, but like they usually do later. Like later, they're like, "Oh, I see what you. I get that now more." So I'm just grateful to have shared it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this is also my experience. Suddenly something I will like there when the openness is there, there's always like the information coming in. This is this, or this is that, or this is coming from there. So I'm sure I will be shown. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
thank you very much for sharing, Daniel. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
If people want to check me out, just go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free make money meditation. Also, just briefly want to let you know you can learn how to do this scanning that I'm doing. You can learn about that and get the secrets about how to do it like for free by going checking out Energy Scan Secrets, which we'll put the link to one of my upcoming calls where I'll do scanning and also teach you secrets about how to do the type of things that I do. So, all right. Eva, it's so great to have you on. Any real last quick words? I know you need to get going.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you so much for having me, Daniel. It was amazing again to talk with you. I love the energy here in your podcast. So thank you very much. And also for the listener, thank you so much. And it's actually very interesting because my meditation, so the Thursday one I talked about in the session, is starting in a few minutes, and I can already feel the energy coming in so strongly, It's like
Yeah.
yeah, so maybe people can pick it up because it's also gonna be in the recording, or they can tap into it, and then they may be interested in joining. So yeah,
Yeah.
thanks
I
again,
felt it.
Daniel. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Likewise. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And thank you to our listeners. Keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till next time. For listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best.
As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.